See what happens. I just want to reiterate, if anybody has anything they want to say, comment, anything, call us now, 1-877-242-8212. The phones are open. We'd love to take callers, hear from you. Any question you have, we'd love to get your call. And, again, listen to us on iTunes. Check the podcast out. But, all right, moving on. We got the Thunder and the Lakers. Now, I was really disappointed that the Thunder lost to the Lakers. I was really rooting for them. I was a little fan biased. I really wanted the Thunder to beat the Lakers. I think they could have beat the Lakers. So,
I mean, are you talking about disappointed in the fact that they didn't win the series, or that Game 6 where they should have had?
Well, I think game obviously it's an elimination game, right. So I think they should have won that game, and then you never know what could have happened in Game 7.
Right.
Most people say, yeah, it's in L.A., the Lakers, they'll probably have won, but you just don't know. That Game 7 never came, and I was so mad because you see the Thunder got to do something about their backup power forward position. I mean, Nick Collinson totally blew that game for them. Boxed out absolutely no one. You get Kobe Bryant to miss a shot, and then you have your power forward to get a rebound. But he wasn't there to get the rebound. He boxed out nobody. He was standing in the middle of nowhere. He didn't know anything that was going on. He looked like he was in a different world.
Well, going into that series, I mean, the one key thing that a lot of analysts have been saying is the fact that as great as the Thunder have been playing, their biggest downfall against the Lakers was their front court. And essentially, that's what beat them in the series, is that the Lakers' front court was just that much better than the Thunder front court. Even though the Thunder are, they have probably one of the greatest players in the league, and they have the good young nucleus. What I'm curious and what I would like to see is guys like Serge Ibaka, who played pretty well in the playoffs. He averaged 6.3 points in the season, play some decent defense. I would like to see if the Thunder, if they look to, let's say, go and try to build with a guy like that, or maybe try to go out and get some, maybe a free agent guy. I mean, let's say a guy like a Brendan Haywood or something like that, a defensive-oriented center to complement what they currently have.
DP, what do you think of Brendan Haywood fitting in with the Thunder? What do you think about that?
I think they need someone of a higher caliber than Haywood.
But how much higher? Because you already have guys on the team who could score. Guys developing like Durant. You have Russell Westbrook, and then you have James Harden, who
But higher caliber doesn't necessarily always mean better scorer.
But okay. Give me an example of a player.
Like possibly like a Scola. I like a guy like that.
But how is Louis Scola any more higher caliber than a Brendan Haywood?
I think he's a better shooter. He can create more on his own.
But that team already has shooters. They need somebody that's going to build. That's going to post
as
up.
As Adam said,
he
said that game was on Collison. That's one particular play. What about Kevin Durant's field goal for that game? I believe he was four of 16 or 17 of the game.
Oh yeah, exactly. He didn't shoot that well during the series at all.
That team being so young has now started to rely on Durant's creation. And I saw in that Game 6, pulling up and shooting. Well, here's that's a young team being outmatched by Bynum, Gasol. They can't get the ball inside. I feel like, okay, Haywood and Scola, okay, fine, but what about David Lee? He's a free agent. I think that would
David Lee would fit in great.
Amazing.
Right. Well, anybody can use a superstar. Anyone can bring in a superstar on any team and hope you hope it works out. But that team, they're a good-looking team now. They're a very good-looking team now.
Absolutely.
On paper, they're a good-looking team. But when you see the little mistakes they made, it wasn't really their starters. Like I said, Nick Collinson is not their starting power forward.
Right.
And they need to improve on that, I think. And in the long run, will save them more money. They have a lot of cap space. Instead of just going to sign some big free agent, look at how close they were. They beat the Lakers twice. They beat the world champs. This team could have been matched up in the 5th seed spot. The West is such a close race. I mean, those teams were half a games apart from each other in terms of how they were going to be placed. And the Thunder just got, the bad end of the stick.
Well,
and, they ended up getting placed at the 8th spot, playing the world champions for their first time being in the playoffs.
Well,
and they could have beaten them. I really feel like they could have beaten them, and it was just careless mistakes on their backups. Their starters were all good. Yeah, you can argue that Jeff Green could have had a better series, and he would have helped them maybe advance to the next round. But his game was off. It was his first time. Inexperience, things like that come into play. But at the end of the day, how they lost the last game was on their backup power forward. And if they just if they had played Etan Thomas over Nick Collison, a guy that's making $6 million a year, and he can't box out, just one play, they were up, they were winning. Kobe Bryant missed a shot. That's huge. You get Kobe to miss a shot, it's like God saying, "Hey, it's a win. It's a win." So
but, I mean, aren't you taking a little bit away from Gasol's ability to position himself to put that back?
I mean, look, Gasol was wide open. Okay, we know he could put that back. We do. But the thing is, Collinson should have been there. It would have been much harder for Gasol to do that had there been a body in front of him.
Even a presence of somebody. I understand. I
agree with what you said, but that's where, going back to what I was saying before, that's where a guy like Brendan Haywood would fit well on that team, because the Thunder, even though they were the 8th seed, they're still a 50-win team in the West. So with the nucleus that they currently already have, I only think they're maybe they're one center away, a defensive-oriented center, and maybe one or two key bench guys away from really being a title contender. And that team really isn't that far away from really taking it to the next level.
Okay, well, after the game, Kevin Durant had some things to say. Obviously, losing, not the greatest feeling in the world, but he sounded pretty optimistic in terms of how they can get better and what they needed to do. So let's hear what he had to say.
I'm going back home to D.C. James and Eric said they're going to come out there with me, this weekend. Something small like that, shows that, we're ready to, build together as a group, continue to get better as a group, because it's not just on the basketball court. We like hanging with each other off the basketball court, and I think that makes it easier for us when we start to play basketball again. So, it's a group of brothers that I'm with now, and I'm happy I'm here.
A group of brothers.
I like
that
the
went
camaraderie
down.
there.
A group of brothers that went down. That's family right there. That is a good organization. Congrats to the Oklahoma City Thunder for making it this far. I think they were the story of the year. It was great to see them. And Kevin Durant, I mean, the guy is going to be. I really do believe he's going to be up there with LeBron James.
He already is up there.
Exactly.
He already is up there.
Unbelievable talent. And like you said, but the thing that really strikes me is how close these guys are. And he's not really pointing on being inexperienced and all this stuff. He's, we got
a team like
just stick together.
A team like the Thunder, what's great about them is that since they do have a good young nucleus, these guys are maturing, they're developing, and they're growing up together. So that's really, essentially, in the long run, it's what makes a team. When you have that camaraderie, as opposed to just getting players here, signing players there, trying to mismatch and fill in holes and this and that in order to make a team. That's not what makes a team. That's not how a team wins. You need the camaraderie. You need the chemistry, because that's what's real important. I mean, going back to back when the Lakers, they had Gary Payton, Karl Malone, Shaq, and Kobe. Yeah, those were all 4 big names, but you know what? They ended up losing.
No
you know
chemistry.
why? Because they had no chemistry.
Yeah.
Right.
Nobody knew what to do with one another.
Right. Well, and I'll tell you this also. Russell Westbrook had some things to say after the post game. Again, it's just this team really is just one big family, and you'll see right here.
I think it's a good season for us. As a NBA player, you got to continue to work and get better. And I think summer league and all that stuff is good for you, especially to bond with your teammates and get opportunity to play against some other guys. So it's a good thing to do. I just want to come back and be better, be a better player and person, and try to be able to help this team to make it further. So at the same time, we got to know, what it took to get to where we were this year, and got to make that next jump. And I think hopefully we come back next year with the same mindset of coming out and working hard and competing every day.
See, this guy just carries himself really well. Well-spoken player, Russell Westbrook. And, again, he stresses family, sticking together. These guys are just like brothers. That's exactly what they are. They're just
band of brothers.
Band of brothers. They go down as one. The Wolf Pack.
Yeah, I mean, this team is obviously going to keep on the rise now. I mean, when's the last time you heard players talk like that? Oh, we should play in the summer league, to play against these other
guys. Think they're too good to play in the summer league.
I can understand that it is a long season and to continue to play through the summer, but the genuine enthusiasm that Westbrook seems to have right there, it's kind of refreshing.
All right, well, on that note, we're going to go to a quick commercial break, but I just want to tell you guys, again, if you have anything you'd like to ask, call in, question, 877-242-8212. It's 877-242-8212. And we'll be back right after this commercial break.